All right, this one is a complicated one.
I think most things from you are typically complicated.
No, I'm a simple guy. I can make anything complicated look simple. And this one I'm gonna make simple.
All right, so walk us through here. This is an interfascial anterior fossa temple technique.
My sacred temple technique, I call it.
Oh, good God.
So I have a lot on this, and I do want to do, this is more than 3 minutes.
I want to pause here real quick because, yeah, I mean, there's a lot here.
There's a lot to the temples. So this is my technique, which is interfascial, and what I do is I make a little poke with a 19 gauge needle.
Walk us through that. So right now we're watching that. Where is that insertion point? Is it relative to the hairline? The hairline does move for people.
Yes, it's usually where the anterior hairline is, right where that anterior hairline is.
And then where are you relative to the zygomatic arch?
I'm about 2 centimeters above it, because a centimeter, up to a centimeter and a half, the fascial plane fuses and that interfascial plane does not exist there. So you have to be a centimeter or centimeter and a half above or superior to the zygomatic arch. So I am there about a centimeter, at least a centimeter and a half above there.
Okay.
I use a 22 gauge cannula,
right,
which is critically important for me in this section.
Yes.
Also, it's really important that I'm anterior, usually, to the superficial temporal artery. Okay. Sometimes I can palpate, I can feel it. So
well, you have the frontal branch that's crossing over this interior.
I know, but right where it's coming up along superiorly, as it starts, before it crosses over, I'm anterior to it. But then sometimes I palpate to feel it. But I really don't worry about it too much, because if I put my pilot needle into it, you'll see a spurt of blood, and then I know that I'm in the wrong place. And I'll start over again and put another pilot needle in. So I don't worry too much.
So you go through a different insertion point altogether?
If I get a big flash of blood from the pilot needle itself. Now my product is thinned, and this is really important. I mix it.
What product do you use?
I use Halacross, and I use 24 milligrams per cc, and then I mix it with saline or a little bit of lidocaine. So I use 0.9 saline, 0.1 of lidocaine, and so I have, for every 1 cc of product, I get 2 cc's of filler. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes, of course.
One vial.
And this is a very, it's a gel that draws in a lot of water.
Yes.
And I find that when you inject in this plane, it lasts quite a bit of time.
2, 3, 4 years. It's incredible how long it lasts. The beauty of this plane is that once you get into the interfascial plane, you can massage it throughout the whole area.
Yep.
And then it just nicely fills in. Over the next few days, it just kind of evens out. Now that pocket of that interfascial plane is not an enormous sized pocket. It goes up to the lateral temporal adhesions.
Okay.
Because that's again where the septum, where the interfascial plane comes together and fuses. And there's actually 8 to 10 planes in this area, and you really have to study them, and a little bit beyond the scope of this of us in 3 minutes. But if I get it all within that plane, if I go below the superior temporal septum and above the inferior temporal septum, that whole pocket is a potential space, and it fills in very nicely.
And then immediately, what is it bound by? Like
the lateral orbital thickening, which is another true osteocutaneous ligament right in this region. So that's a good point, because if some people, it really dives deep in here and you can get a big depression. So occasionally I'll have to come medial to the lateral orbital thickening and place a little bit right along here to make sure it's even.
Okay.
Now the interfascial plane, the beauty of the interfascial plane, once you get in, you have to feel it. You're underneath the vessel. So you see the veins above you. And sometimes as I'm going through, and you can maybe even see it on some of these, some of our treatments here, you can't see it here because now I'm in the cheek, but you can see the veins above it. And that's how I know I'm in the right plane, because the veins are above my cannula. And I see my cannula go underneath the veins. I also know I'm below the superficial temporal artery. And it bounces off and pops around. It's very hard to cannulate that artery in this area with a 22 gauge cannula.
Well, you are underneath the superficial temporal fascia, which is what encases the superficial temporal artery. And when we say interfascial, the roof of the fascia is that superficial temporal artery. The
superficial temporal fascia, right?
And the base is the superficial lamina of the
deep temporal
fascia.
Right.
So there you go.
It's a little bit complicated, but I'll give you a better video. But I love this technique. It's one of my favorite things to do, and I think it really makes the face look more youthful immediately.
And I think it really does pick up on that lateral brow. Yeah. So there you go, guys. I hope you can thrive in 3 now.
Thanks for watching, and please hit that like button.
And make sure to click on subscribe so that you can stay most up to date on all things thriving.
Like me?
You need to subscribe.